Hey, hello everyone. Again, this is Baron Samadi, the Alchemist, and coming to you driving in my car. And I was just thinking, I did a video earlier this month talking about my personal experience with the Mandela effect, and you know, I was rambling. I rewatched the clip that I uploaded, and I was doing a lot of rambling because it really took me by surprise that my reality that I grew up in, that I knew was, you know, was a lie or had been changed. I had it deep inside, that the feeling deep inside that somebody stole something from me or something was taken from me, and it didn't sit well. But now that I'm starting to rationalize it and understand it, and basically trying to wrap my head around it, get a grip on it, I started asking my family a couple questions. I started asking people a couple questions of what it was that I remember, and to see would they have any memories of this. And so I went and picked up my dad, and I did a lot hanging out with my dad a little bit. And I asked my dad, I said, "Hey Dad, I say, I asked him, I say, how many states, you know, are in America?" My dad is in his 60s, late 60s, and he told me there was 52 states. And I say, "No, Dad, there's 50. And he kept telling me, he like, boy, he made a reference to, boy, what they been teaching y'all in school. I mean, I'm 40, so he think he still think I'm a kid in school probably or something, I don't know. He said, boy, what they teaching y'all in school? And he went on to talk trash about today's school system. He said, "I'm a former Army Ranger. I know how many states it is in America." He said, because, you know, there was a couple conflicts to which they was going to send him. And get this is very interesting. I thought that Alaska and Hawaii was the last states to become part of America. But no. My dad is under the impression that Guam is the 51st state and Puerto Rico is the 52nd state. So when I told him, I say, I don't know what the hell Guam is, period. And I say Puerto Rico is a territory, you know, they got all rights and privileges as Americans, but I say they just our territory, you know, just like the U.S. Virgin Islands. And he said he hit me up with something that was totally unexpected. He say, "What you mean the U.S. Virgin Islands?" He say the Virgin Islands are property of the British government. And I'm like, no, man. I say it's the U.S. Virgin Islands. He say they was called the Isles, the British Isles of the Virgin Island. And I never heard of a Mandela effect like that. You know, I mean, this guy's 64, fought in multiple scrimmages, I don't know the correct word to say it. Forgive my tongue, I have an accent, I hide it a lot. Multiple fights in various conflicts with the U.S., so I'm pretty sure he would know his mappings. And he say, no, the U.S. Virgin Islands, to which I told him what the U.S. Virgin Islands, he say these things were the British Isles, something along that line, the British Isles, and the British Islands, British Isle. And it's crazy because nobody's talking about that Mandela effect. So this man, 64, 65, remembers a time when the Virgin Islands were controlled by the British country. It's nuts. He also was telling me about how, and I want to say this right, how this guy Gorbachev changed. He's like I said, he's a former military guy, and he loves talking about Gorbachev and Switchkov and all these other hard to pronounce names. And he say that these people were like to be feared, And I say, well, Gorbachev is a friend of America. He into this, I mean, and he's the type, he just watched a lot of sports on TV, but he was like, nah, Gorbachev is like to be feared. And so I start throwing a bunch of Israeli names, Islamic extremist names in the air to him, and he basically told me a time where these guys was nothing, like they was basically cabin boys. And I don't want to get in his business because he's pretty private about the his wartime that he's seen, because you know, after all that, he became very nonviolent man, a sweetheart. But he was like, he knows about this Bin Laden guy, and he says that guy was nothing. He refers to that guy as being like the CIA or something, signing and seeing his name across papers, across his marching orders or something. I don't know. Then he said he didn't even know that that guy became the terrorist. He thought that it was another something, or Islamabad. He makes up some weird words, but I'm babbling again because this is pretty new to me. And yeah, my dad confirmed it. So I asked my dad about Ross Perot because I'm on this damn Ross Perot kick. Nobody's talking about this guy, and he says Ross Perot was one of the strongest, richest men in America, and he ran for a third-party presidency. And my dad remembers the time when Ross Perot actually became president, and he made the comment like, "Oh yeah, Ross Perot was one of our presidents." And I say, Ross Perot never was a president, and he claims to his heart that Ross Perot was president. And he said that Ross Perot, something that I heard in the news, but this verified the earlier Mandela effect, my experience with it. He made the comment that Ross Perot had his own private army. Same thing I said, that Ross Perot had his own private army, to which they was gonna take special elite forces from various United States military bodies to add with Ross Perot's personal private army and to send them off, but the main Americans would not be deployed. Excuse me, but Americans would not be deployed to do foreign combat. That would be a private sector army to do that with, you know, reference from American elites, American elite forces, special forces units. And I thought that was like cool, but nobody's talking about that. I guess they just totally wrote Mr. Ross Perot off. Yes, they didn't want that to be put in the Mandela effect log, in our log. I don't know what old Ross did, but shit, he was strong. He was strong with it. For his presidency, he was strong. I really liked it. But here's something, right? And here's something. I have another one. I don't know if this is a Mandela effect, but this is just something strange, to which I think I just want to say. So my mom passed away in 2013. Now when my mom passed away in 2013, I'll give you the date. She passed away on August 17th, 2013. Crazy. After the world was I believe the world was recreated in 2012. So I'll just keep that in mind. So a little while later, close to a year later, my grandma passes away. And my grandma passes away at the hospital in room 817. In room 817, 13 months after my mom passed. That's crazy, right? So get this, I'm just looking at the numbers, 81713. I'm just looking at those numbers right there, basically. So get this, when I was young, my auntie passed away. and I was about 13 or 14 years old at the time. My auntie passed away, and she passed away on 8/13, like 87 or something. I think I want to say around by that time there. She passed away around by that time. So I'm just looking at these numbers variation with what is this numbers, and I watched this YouTube video of this young lady, this older lady, I should say. Yeah, I ain't gonna say older lady, God forgive me. This young woman, and she was doing something on the number effect, like the variations of numbers, and how the Mandela effect could have anything to do with how the numbers and the calendars of death and birth relate. I don't know if the quantum computer is doing that accurate, but that was something to be thought about, to be said. I just wanted to say that. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. I'm not too good at doing blogs. I'm more good at, preparing positive spell work, and I'm doing spell work and preparing positive potions and stuff. But that was just crazy that this Mandela effect and is wrapping me up. So I mean, a lot of my favorite shows have changed. A lot of my favorite shows wasn't dealt with. A lot of my favorite shows didn't even come out. I love Mr. T. I used to eat his cereals. I used to watch his cartoon. Everybody just said I Pity the Fool had a t-shirt. Now there's no more I Pity the Fool. Fucking Wizard of Oz, Scarecrow has a goddamn gun. They was showing that in school back in the 70s, and I mean back in the early 80s and things. It's wild. It's really wild. I'm okay with it. It's just a lot to take in. I'm understanding it, but I'm wrapping my mind around it and things. But I'm gonna end this video because I'm babbling again, and I just wanted to share that, and I carried on a little too much. But yeah. If you guys listen to this and you guys have any comments about that numbers thing, I would like to know, or could point me in the directions of anybody who could help me sort out the numbers as it relates to death, because 3 to 4 family members all dying, all death dates and years continues with 81713. I don't know if that's a significant number. I don't know, is that it's just those numbers 81713. So I just say 81713. That'll just keep it all in perspective as it relates to the people in my circle passing away. Yeah, it's just wild. Something wild. So until we meet again, friends, trust in you and universe, because at the end of the day, you all you have. Thanks.